Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm really excited to do this video today with you guys. It's my everyday makeup look. This is my go-to look. I rarely do anything else. Just as a total disclaimer, if it is not obvious, I am not a professional makeup artist. Everything I've learned over the years from YouTube. When I was growing up, my makeup was not the greatest, so I really had to learn as YouTube came out with more resources. I feel like the teenagers nowadays just have it so easy because you just look everything up on YouTube and they all have flawless makeup, whereas me, I have pictures of myself with very mismatched coloring going on with my face and my neck, and it was an awful time. So I'm pretty proud of how far I've come, but I'm definitely not an expert by any means. As you can tell, I have a totally fresh face, so there's no makeup on it. I just have skincare on. This is kind of what I usually do every day just because I'm pretty lazy when I go to work. I don't put any makeup on. But the one thing that I would recommend doing that I'm not going to do in this video before is putting moisturizer on. I also sometimes like to do my skincare completely before, just because otherwise the makeup looks a little bit too cakey on me personally. The next thing I do after putting moisturizer on is putting primer on. I have been using this Rare Beauty primer for a long time. I bounced around to a few different primers. I've tried the Urban Decay one. That one's really nice. Their setting spray is a classic as well and always works really well. But I really like a lot of the Rare Beauty products, and I feel like this one gives you a little bit of a shine when you put it on, which I really like. I already have a lot of shine going on from my skincare and just kind of like sweating throughout the day today, but this one is great when you're kind of starting from scratch and you maybe need a little bit more glowiness to your skin. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's actually like glowy when you put it on. Yeah, like that. I put it everywhere, and then something I find is I do put it on my eyelids. You can get special eyeshadow primer for your eyelids, which I've used before, but I don't personally like it that much just because I feel like it makes the eye makeup look really unnatural. So with the moisturizer, I'll let it rest for a little while, and then once I move on to the primer, I'll also let this just sit on my face just for a minute or two just to make sure it's all seeped into my skin. So I'm going to do that now, and while I let it sit, I'm going to get my beauty blenders wet. I always recommend wetting them before you use them. I feel like this is a pretty well-known fact now, but maybe it's not. I don't know if people still use them wet. I personally really like using them wet. I have two different ones. I will show you why in a second. If anyone is interested, this is my drink of choice. It's literally cranberry juice and San Pellegrino sparkling water. I took myself off of this for like 6 months because I felt like I was getting too much sugar, and it was a lot. I was drinking it all the time, but anyways, I know everybody cares a lot about that. I just thought I would share it. Might want it. So the first thing I actually start with after primer is my contour, bronzer, contour, and I put it on regularly, but I just put it on my skin, and then I will move on to concealer, and then I will put foundation on over top, which I'm going to show you guys. This just makes it look so much more natural. Also, don't come at me. I know I'm pretty sure I don't put this in the right spots, and I'm pretty sure now you're supposed to use like bronzer as well. I'm not really like up to date on that trend. I don't really get how to do that. It's something I've been meaning to look up for a while. Ooh, missed that. I would not usually put that there. I'll just blend this out a bunch with the round side of the beauty blender. When I first started doing this, it felt so weird, like putting it on my bare skin. But now I'm super used to it because this is how I do it all the time. I usually put my hair back too when I'm doing this and just being lazy. I know some people use brushes for contour and foundation, and some people use beauty blenders. It's like the classic debate. I use a little combo of both. I used to use a combo of like brushes and beauty blender on my face, but now I just use the beauty blender for my whole face, just because I find it more natural looking and also just easier. Like, I'm just kind of lazy with that, I guess. And then for my nose, as you can see, I'll use this contour brush. This one's just from Sephora. Most of the makeup stuff that I bought is still from like when I was a teenager, which I don't know. How sanitary is that? Probably not sanitary. But I do wash my brushes, and these are new. These are, well, not new, but they're definitely not that old. I always want to get more eyeshadow palettes. Actually, that's not true. I did buy a new one, which I'll show you guys later, about a year ago. That's like the most recent new makeup purchase I would say I have. And I always just put contour right here just because I find it looks more natural and adds like more definition. I don't know. And sometimes I won't even put eyeshadow on, so that's why I do it there, because if I'm going for like a more natural look, I will just leave it at that and do the rest of my makeup, and then at least I still have something going on in my eye area. Today I am going to do my usual eyeshadow because that's what I usually do, and I want to show you guys the full thing. I used to be so against doing your eyeshadow at this stage of your makeup. Like, I just thought it was the weirdest thing. I was like, why would you ever do that? And now I do it all the time. So life comes at you fast. This is the eyeshadow palette that I bought just recently because I was looking for some greens and blues, but then it also has these colors like right in the corner here, which I find suits me best. I've only ever used like this blue and a little bit of that blue, and then yeah, I use these all the time, these two, and then I occasionally use this one. I also have another go-to eyeshadow palette, and it's the same brand. They're both Huda Beauty, which I like. I think I forgot to mention, but my contour is also Rare Beauty. I really like their products. You'll see them a lot in this video. So I'll just go in with these two kind of mixed together. I think this is where my makeup skills are the weakest. Like, I don't think I really do my eyeshadow properly. I've looked it up many times and none of them really look accurate to me. Like, I don't feel like I ever replicate it that well. At this point, the makeup looks crazy, but you have to trust the process. This is the other palette I have. It's kind of falling apart because I've had it for a long time. It's the classic one that like everybody had back when I was going to high school, at least. And I just use like a very similar brown shade for the middle of my eyelid. I'm just using a blending brush, and if anybody finds this horrendous, don't, because I gave you a disclaimer. I'm gonna use this brush, flat tip brush. I think it's actually called that. And I'm gonna go in with like a lighter, it's very hard to see, this one, just for the inner eyelid. That's kind of that for the eyes, just because this is like an everyday go-to makeup look, so it's nothing very complicated. So now I'm going to use concealer. I don't use a ton of this. I try to use as little as possible. I learned to put it here when I watched Lauren Giraldo one time. Apparently it shapes your face. I don't know, I trust her. And then I used to put a ton under my eyes, but I found it was just like kind of pooling, so now I just put very minimal amounts by my eyes, but I do try to dab it upwards, especially this one, and that's why I do the eyeshadow first, because it just leaves like a much cleaner line. It's my nose as well. I used to put it all the way up to like the middle of in between my eyebrows, but I find it looks a lot more natural if you just drag it up to about here. So I use this beauty blender for my foundation and my concealer, all my like lighter color products, and then I use this one for contour and for blush. You could probably use the same one in general. I just find that nicer. I like it personally better. For concealer, I use the Born This Way. It's Too Faced. I really like this one. I find with concealer and of course a foundation, you really want to make sure you're finding the right shade. That's more, I find, not just almost as important as the formula that you're using. This one I really like. I find it really light. I find it really natural looking. For me, I'm always looking for a more natural looking product. Only way I try to make my makeup look less natural looking is if I'm doing some like more fancy and fun eyeshadow, but for my face products, I really like it when it just sits really naturally, doesn't cake, doesn't really scrunch up or cause lines, and this doesn't cause lines at all. So now this is where I will put foundation on. So I've done eyeshadow, contour, concealer, And now I'll move on to foundation. This is kind of the back end of my makeup. When I very rarely want a full coverage foundation, I use the NARS. It's a really popular one. I think it's like the photo finish one or something along those lines. And then I actually have that one in my proper shade when I don't self-tan. This is my go-to foundation. I use it year round, but I've actually gotten it in a shade that is a shade darker than my usual shade because I usually self-tan year round, so I want something that matches my self-tan. I just find it a much comfier foundation and it doesn't feel really cakey, and I barely notice that it's on. I've gotten really lucky where my skin has gotten a lot better, so I don't need to really worry about using full coverage, but there are odd times when I do want to be using full coverage, or if I'm having a day where my skin isn't as great, then I will gravitate towards that. I start from the middle with my foundation and then go outwards. Again, something I learned online. Don't know whether any of these tips are actually like coming from professional makeup people or if they're just like total BS that's been made on the internet, but they work for me. So again, since I'm not using full coverage foundation, I usually don't worry too much if my face is like completely covered. Try to make sure that it's at least evening out my skin tone, so like I don't have big blotches of red. Next, I'm using the Benefit Cosmetics eyebrow tint. I use this every day. I already have some on, but I'm just gonna reapply a little bit since I've been messing around with the makeup. I've really gone back and forth with my eyebrows. I've done like the really dramatic eyebrows with the pencil, and then now I kind of just do this. I don't think I mastered like what to do with them yet. For now, I like this, especially for like a natural everyday look, but there's certain times where I wish I could do like a little bit more with them. And then at this stage, I'm also gonna curl my eyelashes because I'm going to use setting spray right now. I'm using the NYX Dewy Finish setting spray because it's cheap and it works. This is like final stages now, so I'm going to put on my highlighter, and this is also Rare Beauty. I usually just blend this out with my hands, but I do find you have to be careful with this one because if you don't blend it properly, it looks really bad. Next is also Rare Beauty. It's this blush. This is very pigmented. You don't need to put a lot of this on. And then I just use this blender from before to blend it all out. I personally like to put my blush pretty high on my cheekbones, almost on top of the highlighter. I also do that with my contour. I like to put it pretty high up. Sometimes I'll do more from here, like I'll add some eyeliner or some under eyeliner. I'm not gonna add anything else today other than mascara and a lip combo, but I feel like this is a good base and you can really do a lot from here if you wanted to. I've been really enjoying this Too Faced mascara, and it's just brown mascara, which again I find looks really natural, and with the fall coming up, it's pretty nice. Before I put mascara on, I'm going to do another spray of this setting spray just to make everything sit more naturally. Again, for me, I find makeup looks kind of cakey on me, so I need to make sure I'm doing like a lot of setting spray and stuff to make it look a little bit more like wet and dewy. While I'm waiting for the setting spray to set, I will curl my eyelashes again. I just do very natural looking mascara, and I don't put a lot of mascara on my bottom eyelashes anymore. I just don't love it as much as I used to. And then finally, I'm just gonna do my classic go-to lip combo that I've been doing of the late, which is the Makeup Forever. It is the Caffeine, Anywhere Caffeine color, the lip pencil. So I'll do that first. I don't actually do like a full outline. I know some people do that, some people don't. And then I rub it in. I find when I do the full outline, it just looks so clammy on me. I'm probably just doing it wrong, but I've just found this technique looks the best on me personally. And the next thing I'll go in with is this YSL lipstick. It is a little bit on the pricier side. This color is the, actually not sure, but it's the Rouge Shine that they have. This was like the orangey pink color, and I do like this one a lot. It's worth the money. And then finally on top, I've had this Laura Mercier. This is in 110 Macaroon. It's like a lip gloss, like a pinky transparent. That is the final look. You could obviously do other lip combos or other eyeshadow combos. You could do really anything, but this is just what I do. This is my everyday makeup look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Let me know if you liked the makeup videos and I will do some more.